Hey everybody, welcome back to the Take a Stand live event. This is an extraordinary event where I am talking to 35 women who are all sharing their stories of triumph over trauma. So I'd like to welcome Brigette.
Hi, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing more about your story of triumph over trauma.
Yeah, I'm excited to share it.
Yeah, let's get started.
All right. So my name is Brigette. My story began when I got married very young. I think I was 21, 22, and it seemed perfect and amazing, and did all the things, moved to where he was living. He had a good job, stayed at home, wanted to have kids right away. And then I had my first miscarriage, which was kind of like a take back, It's kind of like, oh wow, okay, what's going on here? And got pregnant again and had a boy, who we then found out at 20 weeks that he had a heart condition. And so we lived out in the middle of nowhere in the boonies of North Dakota, and so we had to make plans because they wanted, they didn't have the medical uh, capabilities of dealing with him there. So we would either have to go to Minneapolis or Denver. Their standard procedure was to just, as soon as he was born, flight for life him to Minneapolis, and I could follow whenever. And that wasn't an option for me. I was like, no, not going to happen. So we packed up and moved to Denver because it's closer to our families at the time and that kind of thing. So we did that, and we had about 3 years, or 2 years, I guess, of just medical. He had 3 open heart surgeries, that kind of thing, and it really didn't affect me that much as a first-time mom. I did want to get pregnant again right away because I was like, okay, can I have a normal baby? Can I have kids? Because having kids was super high priority on my list, and so I got pregnant right away while dealing with him in the hospital, but I handled it all really well. But in the background, what was going on was he had a horrible porn addiction, and of course, whenever that would happen, he would treat me like shit. And, I would find out about it, and I knew about it. And first time I found out about it was 3 weeks after we were married, that he was doing this again. And so, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay. So, just that was more of a bigger struggle and more of the forefront on my brain of just what is going on? Why is this happening? What is he doing? All the things. And so, finally, we were about 2 years into our marriage, maybe 2.5, right in there. And I was like, we're going to go to counseling. So we found a counselor that I trusted, felt really comfortable with sharing. Because I also felt like I was going crazy, he would say things and manipulate things and twist things in such a way that made me believe it was all okay and that I shouldn't be feeling the way I was feeling, And so I really was hesitant to go anywhere and tell anybody and talk to anybody. I really had only opened up to one friend about it, and come to find out she had ended up having issues in her own marriage later on. So her advice is very skewed as well. But so we started going to counseling, and it took about 4 to 6 months of just the back and the forth, going every week and being like, okay, cool, this is going to work. This is the answer. This is why he's been doing this. And throughout the week, nothing, he would just go back to the same old habits, same way he would communicate with me, treat me, be very distant, all the things. And so finally one day, for whatever reason, he opened up to me that he had sexual desires towards our daughter, who, that was my second pregnancy. She was 1 year old at the time. And I mean, it just hit me like a wall falling on me. I was just like, had no idea, total shock. Like, oh my gosh, what is, like, almost couldn't believe what was happening in that moment. And just finally knowing what everything was going on. Like, he had such deep rooted sexual issues that there was nothing I could do. It was completely out of my control, And so I mean, within that week, I packed up and left, I was just gone. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to watch my children away from him and live in the same house. So I left, and in the process of leaving and healing, I learned about narcissism and coercion and, gaslighting, and realized, like, that's what he was doing to me. It really had had everything to do with the sexual issues. He used those as tools to twist my brain and make me think I was living in a reality that I wasn't, and, would be like, oh yeah, everything's fine. And it wasn't. And, the energy they put off, making, like, so outwardly it looks like they're close and connected to you, but you feel like you're a million miles away, and just the coercion of that. And so through that, I've healed and been able to, it's been a total battle, because obviously, with the pedophilia there, so many trust issues have come up for me. And I've had to work through those and find trust in myself again and trust other people, and really learn that I'm valuable, and like what he was, and to watch out for those things, and to, it's not, you don't just walk around watching out for bad people. Like, there's actually this, you've got to watch out for bad attitudes and energy, and those little things that, I don't feel like we really talk about enough, and we definitely don't teach our children about, to watch for those and make your own boundaries and stand up for yourself. Because had I known those things, I never would have married him. Like, it was very obvious, clear back into our early dating, what was going on,
Yeah, it's the danger, but I mean, I think the stats predominantly say that the danger is in your own household. It's with people that it's people that you're familiar with. It's not random strangers a lot of the time. It's people who you live with.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very, very, very true in my case. So, just, sleeping right next to him, and that's something that's hard to get over, because you feel, you're supposed to feel so safe in your own home, and you think you're safe, and like, he gave me enough control. He definitely, I hear other stories of other women where, they are more verbally abusive or controlling of, like finances and stuff. And I didn't have those things, like, he allowed me to do things and, like, be who I was, but not quite, kept me back just enough to where I wasn't successful in anything,
So what do you think has been the knock-on effect for you from that relationship? Or what was the knock-on effect from that relationship?
What do you mean by that?
So, you had that experience with him. How did that affect you emotionally, your behavior?
Yeah, so it affected me in going forward after being with him, because for years I, doubted myself. I didn't know the reality of what was real and what wasn't. I didn't trust what people said. I was very confused when it came to making decisions of, who I was and who I needed to be, if that makes sense. Like, when you live with a toxic person, they have you in your head so much that you're living for them, but you don't realize it. You don't realize every decision you make, from should I get up and make a cup of coffee to should I, sit here and, work on this or pay the bills. They literally have you making those decisions the way your day looks for them, because it's whether or not they are going to approve of it, whether or not they're going to be pleased by it, whether or not it, that's just what they want to do. It's all about control for them. And there's really no rhyme or reason for it. It's just pure evil. And they have you guessing those things just so that you live your life for them. What's best for him? Would it be better with his schedule if I went shopping now or waited until he got home? Or, what would please him more? Does he want quiet time when he gets home, or does he want does he want to come home to his family? They have you second guessing all your choices and your decisions for them, and so that was afterwards, I had to reprogram my brain of, no, I'm me, and I'm always going to be me. And, going into a future relationship, I never want that to happen again. I never want to be like, well, I better do this because of that. I want to do things out of love, and because I want to do them, not because I, don't want him to get angry at me or be displeased with me, And so that one was a huge one, is taking my own stand of, I am my own person. And it doesn't matter if you put a marriage label on it or not. I'm still going to be my own person. And you're going to love me for that, and applying that to all relationships. Because when you get in that mindset, I didn't realize how much I applied that to so many friendships and relatives and, different things as well, of just like doing it to make them happy, to keep that peace, because I didn't know, well, what if, I don't want to offend anybody, and getting in that rabbit hole. And so that was the biggest one for me, is coming out of that and just being like, no. There's other little things too, of like, now being able to recognize other people and their toxicity too, making better friends, making better choices, and there's some good ones out there. There's some good narcissists out there, let me tell you. They, but it all comes back to those like root core things of like, what that person is wanting. And it all comes out in the end, once you kind of know what to look for and hold to those truths, and like that pure energy, it's easier to spot for sure.
So some great lessons came out of it by the sounds of it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So what is it that you do now?
So now I am, and I'm a published author, as of a couple of weeks ago. So that was very exciting.
Congratulations. Well done. It's not easy, is it?
No, it was very fun, but no, that was something. So very, very nerve-wracking up till the day, and then a lot of work after and stuff. But no, it was great. We hit international bestselling author, so that was all worth it. So that was really great. So that was my first publication. I have another one coming out later this year as well, in a book. So really, that's been huge for me. Just being able to share my story, put things into words and on paper is also super healing. That's how I said yes to doing that, was just I knew how the power of healing that was. So I do that. I do speaking events, both virtual and in person. So I'm a little bit newer to that. So, kind of still finding my own voice and my own style, but working on that as well. So, and I have a very procrastinated blog as well. One of these days, I have the content. It's just sitting down and making it happen. So yeah, those are my focuses right now. I'm also really, God has really put on my heart to start opening up maybe a local support group for women to just come and, we just need to be heard. I'm just getting, in the community more now that my kids are older, and I run into so many women. We're all having the same struggles and issues. There's so many women in just horrible relationships. And so, just to come and be heard, and, that's half the battle, right? Is killing it. Saying it out loud is killing what's going on. And so, so that's something that's in the works, in the background locally for me too. So, really excited about that.
After after going through what you've experienced, what's the one key message it is that you want people to know about?
I want everyone to know that they're valuable. I want them to know that they're worth standing up for, that they're worth leaving a toxic position for. That, you know, if you think something is going on and something wrong, it isn't you. Like, it is the other person. What is going on is going on. I've found that every time I've talked to a woman, that, you know, when you're confused and you're asking all the questions and you're, you know, is it me? What do I need to do better? What do I you know, how can I fix this? That you're in a bad situation and you need to leave, and you need to know that you are worth leaving for, because it's a chain reaction. Because I'm a giving person. Like, I give everything, you know. I have 4 kids. You know, very rarely do I take time for myself. I'm always, you know, talking and helping other people and pushing forward to better my house, my kids, all the things. And, you know, I didn't think I was worth it. Like, I asked all those questions for, you know, 2.5 years of, what am I not doing right? What am I not, you know, I'm not being a good enough wife. I'm not, you know, not presenting a good sex life, you know, all these things. I thought it was my fault and that I needed to do better. And, you know, when I finally left, it was because of my kids. That was my line in the sand. Well, my line in the sand should have went way further back. I should have left a long time ago, let alone ever even married him, right? But, you know, I should have left the moment that the manipulation started. You know, 3 weeks after our marriage, I should have just said, okay, bye. You know, like, if that's how this is going to go, see you, because you're worth it. Like, when you start standing up for yourself, it trickles effects into everybody in your life. So for me, it's affecting my kids, it's affecting my friends, my close relationships, you know, by being able to be a healthier version of me. You know, we hear that all the time. You can't pour from an empty cup. And it's the same kind of concept. If you're being abused, you can't do your best or give your best either. So not only for your sake, but for others, you know, you need to stand up. But you're worth it. You are worth standing up for, you know. That's my hugest message, because I did not believe that about myself at all.
Yeah. Do you see anything in, before you had that relationship, do you see anything in your past that sort of, and this, I'm just asking this question, I don't know what the answer is. Was there anything in your upbringing that made you more vulnerable to step into a relationship like that? Or was it just purely just the person it is that you picked, and there wasn't anything prior to that that sort of would have led you in that direction?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think a lot of my upbringing had to do with it. I was a very naive little girl. You know, I was raised in a Christian setting, so lots of issues there with even how we discussed marriage. You know, like, very patriarchal, very, you know, the man is the head of the household, the wife submits, and, you know, all the things like. And those are things I totally used to believe. And I'm learning so much more, even biblically, about how that is not true. And that's not what God wants at all. You know, super, super toxic view on marriage. And that women are their own person, you know, like, we come into this marriage equally. Again, like, just because you put the label of marriage on a relationship doesn't change the standards for how you treat each other. You know, you still treat each other with just as much respect and love as you would treat a neighbor or a friend or anyone else in authority, for that matter, you know? And so that was more of how that was on me. And so there was a lot of ways where I didn't feel, because of that, I didn't feel valuable, you know? I didn't feel like I was worth anything more than what I'd found, you know? And that, you know, someone just finally liked me enough to marry me, you know? So there was that. There, you know, I think I'm a midway millennial, you know, I'm right there in the middle. So I think there's a lot with society in that time frame too that was going on. You know, we were coming out of that. Like, we didn't talk about the way we talk to our kids, or the way, you know, we talk, you know, gentle parenting is very popular now, you know, like that kind of thing. And like building up their ego from a very young age and letting them know that they are worth it versus talking down to them, and making them feel worthless at a very young age. And I see that is one of my biggest struggles in my own parenting, is like, well, you're just a kid, and treating them that way. And that's not true. They're people. And not that we don't treat them as people, but that's how it comes across to a child. And so, up until recently, I didn't even feel like an adult, let alone, someone who could take control over things. So I think there's a lot of aspects that play a role in there. I think I was in, it feels like a cultish religion, now coming out of it, I'm like, whoa, what was all that, because of how it ends up looking like. It sounds good. It sounds right. They have passages to back it up. But when you apply it into the real world and apply it to a marriage, and it doesn't work, especially to strong, capable women, I just am. I want to be my own person. I do my own thing. I can take control. I can do all the things, and and very easily can be manipulated and to keep doing better for somebody else. And so that was a huge healing aspect for me, was knowing that a narcissist will specifically target a powerful woman. They will target somebody who is, beautiful and capable and like can do it all, because they want to kill it so bad. Like that was, for me, hearing it, that's how much I devalued myself, was because I didn't even think I was worth that. So to hear that, oh my gosh, somebody thought I was so cool, they wanted to crush me, it was like, whoa, like that's how little I thought of myself. So I think there was a lot that I think that really is the core of what led up to it, was the way I was raised, the beliefs I had, the view, my perspective of the world is exactly what led me into the relationship that I got myself into. Absolutely.
What do you think are some of the warning signs that somebody could look out for?
I think the biggest things are so minor and it's hard to see. And I'm still learning.
Like I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine, because it's like chip, isn't it? It's like chip away at someone.
Well, and they always put their best foot forward, so you don't so in the beginning you meet this person, and so that, first impressions are everything, right? That's what we think of somebody, that, and so you carry that with you. And so as stranger things start to happen, you're like, oh, there's no way this person would do that or actually think that. That's not actually what's going on, because of, this is that person who I'm thinking of, and so that's what they do. They always put their best foot forward, and so it is hard to know, because then, it is like this constant, then this little thing happens. Okay, well, we'll deal with that. Okay, then this little thing happens. Well, we'll deal with that, But I think, like I said, I'm still learning about this too. And it's a huge deep dive for me. So even though I've learned about it, expressing it is hard for me too. But to watch out for, I've learned to compare it to a friendship, If you wouldn't be friends with this person, why are you married to them? If you wouldn't allow yourself to have more time with this person as a friend, you would be like, oh, I gotta go to coffee with so-and-so. They're so negative, or they're so, they make me feel this way. Why would you marry this person and sleep next to them every night,
Did this start after you were married or before you were married?
I think it was definitely after. We had a long distance dating. But there were things there too, there were things in the beginning. He would reach out more, and then, by the time I got closer to us being engaged and married, I was the one always reaching out. There, little things like that where, I was the one always saying hi. I was always the one calling. I was always one going to visit, versus him coming out for the weekend, And if I had just been more in tune to that, he's not putting as much effort forward. He's not as excited as I am. He's not, all the things, versus just, oh my gosh, he's okay that I come up for the weekend, I can be so honored, So little things like that were were definitely before we were married that started to show, you know. And then after, obviously, just landslided. And,
Ramped
you
it
know,
up a bit.
yeah, because he got me. Like, that's, you know, marriage is like a signed and sealed deal for them because of the way they perceive it. You know, they've trapped you. You're there forever. You know, they've got you this far. They don't ever really think you're going to leave. I mean, he still doesn't think I've left in a lot of ways, you know? So, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your story with us, Brigette. I really appreciate it. It's great to get a deeper understanding of what it's like to be in a relationship like that and the impact it has. And I can imagine the fear that you were feeling, you know, to be told that your partner is attracted to your daughter must be absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, it was. But, you know, I'm thankful it happened. You know, I do to this day believe he never actually physically hurt her, obviously.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad it happened when it did, and, you know, gave me the outlet to get out as well. In a lot of ways, my daughter saved me as much as I did her. So,
yeah. Well, thank you for your time. Take care.
thank you. Thank you.